notice the
All right,
fucking bathroom door. My bathroom door.
go for it, bro. We'll start this up. Um, today's session, and welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to the Ruthless Awakening episode. I don't remember. Probably like
Whatever.
eight. It's probably like
This,
eight. No, well, the thing is, like, obviously this is chronic.
this welcome to Ruthless Awakening,
Yeah,
dude.
it's the awakening. It's happening
When
right
you
now.
keep it up, you can do that.
Oh, by the way, I did dive a little bit into that whole Billy Carson thing, and it was interesting. It was an interesting thing. I won't comment on it,
That's
but
what I always didn't like about Billy Carson.
yeah,
Like because I know that the Emerald tablets that he uses is totally an invention, right? Somebody in like 18th century or something recreated it, but I listen to some obscure people, like obscure podcasts and stuff.
yeah,
And there's this one dude that's like, he sounds like Swedish or Norwegian or some shit like that.
uh-huh,
But he's really into like esoteric shit, right? So he's always like, talking about inner alchemy, blah, blah, blah. And many times he's mentioned another type of emerald tablet,
yeah,
like another version that's like more ancient, less known, and it's not exactly like the emerald tablets of Billy Carson that he promotes.
yeah, yeah,
The thing that I never liked about him, like I like that he opens up our minds, I believe, very much aligned to like many things that he says, like, you know, we're we're part of God, we are God,
yeah,
in a very deep explanation that perhaps some other time we should talk about.
yeah,
But the dude is like, very spiritual. Like he gets the spiritual aspect of the symbology, but he believes it as if it's the Bible.
yeah,
Leaves all the other shit as if it's the Bible.
yeah,
And I've done like maybe 10 years of study on the Bible and why I don't believe it should be taken literally. Number one,
yeah,
it's all metaphors, archetypes, stuff like that we need to use our life to live by. There's like very deep codes of life in the Bible, right?
totally,
As you know.
yeah,
But like, you can't never, it's like you always said, like becoming fanatic about something,
hmm,
like living in it, like, no, this is it. It's the truth. We're here. We're done.
yeah,
You fall into this possibility to be arrogant in your own opinion or smart in your own opinion,
yeah,
because and it's like, dude, leave a little room for maybe you're wrong,
yeah,
maybe making a mistake. Just leave
yeah.
a little room.
Well, the way I see it is like people when you believe 100% that what you believe is true, right? If you're just like, this is it, I'm done, you stop seeking the truth. You start looking for evidence to support that notion of truth that you have grabbed onto. You're like, well, this is true because of this and because of that, and so forth.
Confirmation bias is just like
Yeah,
confirmation bias all the time. And that's what he does. But he speaks too bravely as if he is an evangelist of his religion
yeah,
that he
yeah.
doesn't believe.
Well,
You
there's
know,
actually something I was thinking about earlier today was about polarities. The thing is, we were talking the previous episode on like rising above the
Start
pendulum.
over, man.
What?
Did we actually start?
Yeah, we're already in it. Like this is how this goes. It's like you just stumble into the conversation. Sorry.
Well, I think we should maybe introduce the podcast,
I
and
did in the beginning. And when we were in split screen, I already said welcome, welcome. We all said some stuff and then
we did not.
yeah, we did.
We were like making mistakes.
Yeah, but
And
that's the whole point. That's the whole point. This is uncut, dude. It just starts. I don't have any agenda except to talk with you and to explore some concepts.
you should always
So
remember.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
just us hanging out.
yeah,
Action.
exactly. That's really what it's about.
That's
And
cool. Yeah, thanks for reminding me about that because I was on all business and
yeah,
professional about it.
no,
Like,
no, no. This is not about that. This is just I think sometimes we have a lot of substance in our conversations, and if we allow ourselves to just speak it, and I would like the Ruthless Awakening to be that. It's like rather and than being an official podcast, more like stumbling into a conversation at a party and being like, "Yo, this dude's talking some stuff," you know.
Ooh, I like that idea.
So so
Awesome.
it's a little bit more relaxed. That's why the background is
What
flip.
would, it's
What?
a, I
Yeah,
interrupted you, so I want
yeah,
to know
that's
what.
fine. That's
But
fine. It's
anyway,
all good.
that background's awesome. I
Mhm.
couldn't sign on today, but we'll be working on it.
Yeah, we will totally get it.
Uh, just want to tell everybody because last time I was in another house when we did this, right?
That is
Right.
true. Yes.
Fire. Just want to tell everybody we're in a temporary residence while they are fixing our other house up. Yeah, going through the flow,
Going
doing
through it. Yeah. I mean, it has been a crazy couple of weeks since the last time that we got together. And
Christmas and everything. So
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
but all
So
good. Like, and I just want to show everybody my background. This is like our apartment we're living in before we move back.
yes. The
And
emptiness before the it's the void before the fill.
later on, we should talk about like the four stages of alchemy, what it symbolically means,
Yeah.
because one of them is calcination. I think it's the first one, right?
Yeah.
It's like
I don't
fire.
know. Actually, I'm not that well versed in alchemy. I think
Well,
you have deeper
Carl Jung,
knowledge.
kind of you stumble on this shit when you're doing like like human development,
Yeah.
corporate training shit. Like you end up stumbling on it because people like Carl Jung, uh, you know, really kind of based many of his concepts on like like the psychology, well-being and stuff, you know.
Yeah.
And but anyways, the first step is calcination, which means everything gets consumed by fire.
Yeah.
And it's like letting go of your old self, throwing it in the fire, your beliefs, your attitudes, your everything. And obviously, times that's testing like this reveals bad aspects of yourself, like the
Yeah.
right? Like the
Yeah.
non, the irritability, the snarky remarks, the lots of stuff, you know. Amongst them, the possibility of falling, as somebody requested awesomely in the chat of YouTube, like talk about, you know, stagnation.
Stagnation. Yeah.
So like stagnation is a possibility. Also, you're just like
Yeah,
such a
well, it's
big
like that's the fight. What's the stages? It's fight, flight, freeze, and fold. Those are the
right.
four responses to like trauma, right? So like when something big happens, we've got the fight, we've got the flight. Those are the most common ones are fight or flight, but there's freeze and fold. Freezing and folding. Folding is basically just like um it's very similar to freezing. You just become you submit yourself under this whole thing and you can't do anything. You become paralyzed in a way. Same with freezing. It's like, okay,
It's like sort of the fire helps you identify those things that you have
yeah.
in, you know, and when it's appropriate, because I think there are appropriate times to fold.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, those are the default responses, right? So they all must have some.
The wrong time to do it, you know, like fighting all the time.
Yeah. Well, if a
Is
snake falls in front of you, you got to freeze.
right.
You can't fight it. You just chill. All right. I'm not gonna do anything.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so it's like, you know, anyway, so that's my background for now.
Nice. Yeah.
Uh,
But
we're
anyway, so let me piggyback onto this thought. So like last time we were talking about the pendulums and how being on those edges of the pendulums, um, is wild, right? But at the same time, that's exactly the same method that Elon Musk, Billy Carlson, all these people rise themselves to infamy
right.
because what they're like Andrew Tate, for example, that dude's like a perfect example of riding polarity in order to get a reaction. So, like for example, uh, I'm writing that AI book. I'm doing this the whole process and so forth. And then there's more traditional authors that are like vehemently opposed to the idea of using AI within the writing. It's like a purist sort of uh, view on creative expression. And I'm like, well,
I mean,
there's
you like I can see the side of Leonardo da Vinci getting pissed off at a freaking computer painting in a fraction of a second what he took 5 years to do, you
Yeah,
know.
totally.
So
But why
it's
would you get pissed? It's not you. Like that's still
a writer's perspective, and maybe Leonardo da Vinci, you know, with all of his, I think he was probably a wise kind of person. Don't know much about him, but I know he did a lot of things. You know,
yeah.
he probably would have been like, "Oh, AI, I'm still gonna paint."
Yeah,
Still,
totally.
you
It doesn't
know,
mean you stop doing like I still write without the assistance of AI, but I'm utilizing AI in a particular way to convey a story. And I would like to see if I can tweak this machine good enough so that it's a story up to the level of the Name of the Wind, where I'm like, oh, this is like fucking powerhouse stuff. And then I've developed a process to take an idea and convert it into high quality content. So that's the whole purpose of that. It's not the same as writing. I actually would compare it more to like sculpting as opposed to painting. You know what I'm saying? Like writing is like I'm putting the paint on the canvas and I'm creating the scene. But with AI, it's more like there's a rock and I'm using a chisel to like chisel out this carving that exists within the rock. So that's the difference in approach. So, but anyway, the point is I would say that, and in these writers' communities, I would immediately get downvoted, like a lot. Like, you know, they hate me. But at the same time, it's a lot of energy being sent towards me. And so now I'm like sitting there, I'm like, wow, that's crazy. And I was sitting there and I was like, this is crazy. This is exactly what Andrew Tate does. This is exactly what Billy Carson did. This is exactly what all of these people do is that they ride these waves of polarity, but they themselves are not truly invested. Like if you're not invested in the pendulum, and you are above the pendulum, but you can understand how to utilize polarity to move because that's what the thing is. The movement doesn't happen at the top. The movement happens at the bottom. So you have to be able to tap into polarity to be able to shift and move shit into the direction that you want to move towards, right? And that can segue very good into the concept of stagnancy because like what does it mean to be stagnant? Like I know you've experienced stagnancy in your life and I've experienced stagnancy in my life. So to you, what do you define as being stagnant? Like what does that mean?
dude. Just as a parenthesis, maybe you can cut it out.
Yeah.
What is it on? Who knows? How long have we been recording this?
A while.
Just want to know because is my bro. So yeah, for me, stagnation, man, is sometimes when it's like overwhelming and no real vision, and then not like realizing that you have the tools to fix the problem that's in front of you. You know, you already have the tools. You know the things you got to do. You know what the next step is, but you don't do it. You know, why don't you do it? Because you're feeling overwhelmed in some way. You
Mhm.
know, this overwhelmed thing is because of a lack of peace of mind, a lack of separating yourself from the situation, detachment, you know, like you're not separating yourself. You're sort of identifying yourself with your situation. In other words, you think you are your problem, you know.
Yeah.
That's what happens to me. I'm just talking about my own way of thinking about this. Like, you think you're the problem.
Yeah.
And so, like, ways I've done it, I sometimes fall into stagnation, anyways. You know, maybe there's other words that can be used for stagnation because stagnation is like you got stuck. I got it. But I think, what's the word I'm looking for, man? Like the word that talks about like putting things, like
Hold on, let me
moving
just
things
mute this
further
shit.
away. Procrastination, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, like it's basically procrastination. You know, like I don't know. I think that it's kind of the same thing. Procrastinating and stagnation go hand in hand. It might not be the same thing, but they're totally of the same family, you know?
Uh-huh.
There's some things you got to do to kind of get out of it. And the
Yeah.
first thing is what is the most achievable thing I can do right now that can create movement? Because
Uh-huh.
what you got to do is basically get out of your space, your
Yeah.
head space, your body space, everything. Because your state of being creates your emotional balance.
Yeah.
And like there's this deep tie between your emotions and how you feel, like how you feel constantly
Yeah.
and be like your body gets addicted to your state of being,
Yeah.
you know? So if your state of being is, I don't know what to do, so I'm not going to do anything,
Yeah.
then your body starts getting used to it and it produces like a biochemical thing in your body, which is called an emotional addiction.
Yeah.
You're really emotionally addicted to your situation of life.
Mm-hmm.
So you got to start doing other shit. Like you mentioned gratitude at the last time we spoke.
Yeah.
You were like going through a very bad time. And you said the way that you got out of the depressed state was starting to be thankful and start changing your vibe. Thankful for simple things like, man, it's nice and chilly morning.
Yeah.
This coffee's delicious, man. I
Yeah.
love it. Or
Yeah.
that breath is good. Like
Yeah.
simple, just moving forward, doing something, an activity. And that motion creates motion.
Yeah.
But you got to persist because you got to know that your emotions is addicted to the way you feel. Like your behaviors are linked to the way you feel every day,
Yeah.
good
Yeah.
and bad. Like, man, I don't like to feel desperate, but desperation creates a sensation and the actual biochemical injection or secretion in my body, and I start fucking getting addicted to that way of being.
Yeah.
Sort of, you know, cycle through this thing where I'm like, yeah, dude, I hate this feeling, but I
Yeah.
feel it. It's in
Yeah.
my body. These are the actions that create that feeling, or the unactions, or the inactions. These are them. So now I'm looping, not conscious that I am actually sabotaging myself
Yeah.
with the same constant state of existence,
Yeah.
you know? So you got to do
So
shit.
maybe it's like then in a sense it's unconsciousness. It's the inability to be aware of the actions that you're doing that causes stagnation. And
Step,
that you're sort of like shifted into an automated state of being where you're just following through the actions and you're now running against a wall, kind of like a Roomba that like it's just can't get out of this corner. It's just bumping. And no matter the actions that you're doing, it becomes then sort of Sisyphean in a way. It's like, oh, I'm just like treading water.
yeah, you're the cause of your problems,
Yeah.
but not in the way you think. It's not because you're dumb,
Yeah.
weak, or scared or anything. It's just that internally and biochemically and emotionally and physically and psychology, it's all psychologically, it's all one thing. And
Yeah.
you got, you know,
Yeah.
first, okay, I got this problem, dude. I don't fucking like this situation. I don't like the way I feel.
Hmm.
What are the things I can do to change it? Everybody's great at dreaming. Everybody's great at thinking of things. But that fucking first step, dude, it's
Yeah.
such a step to do. But the moment you start doing it, exercise, business, work, whatever, the moment you start doing that little activity that's going to produce good results over a long period of time, things start changing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Start getting,
There's a couple of things there like I'd like to unpack because like um that's true. A lot of times when you find yourself in a point of stagnation, it's because you're overwhelmed by the external situation. So everything around you is chaos and there's no certainty. And you internally, as a result, don't feel that security, that confidence, all of that.
well, if you talk about certainty, man, like it's true. Like certainty is one of the main things, the lack of certainty.
Yeah,
But when you start really looking at things, then you realize that certainty doesn't exist.
exactly. Exactly.
But like we're afraid of going into those like realms of thinking,
Yeah.
afraid of saying, so like with this whole like positivity vibe and like
Yeah.
that shit and whatever. it removes the possibility of exploring your shadow. You
Yeah.
know, if you're like, you're not allowed to fucking say, what if I lose my job tomorrow?
Yeah.
You're not allowed to contemplate the worst case situations or
Yeah.
scenarios. I'm not like in the positive vibe community, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like,
Yeah. Reject all negativity. Yeah.
it's like, dude, it's not that I'm being negative. It's like I gotta go through the whole process of saying, what if I don't make money over a 3 month period?
Yeah.
If this and that happens? What if I just suddenly, like, the company that I work with gets consumed by another company, I lose my job, you know?
Yeah.
There's so many unforeseen variables
Yeah.
that people don't want to accept,
Yeah.
you
Well,
know?
the truth is there's more unforeseen variables than foreseen variables that you can do. There's like an infinite amount of things that could go wrong. And we are only capable of seeing
That's the point. Like what
few.
you're,
Yeah.
there's so many unforetold things. And even the things you know or think you're going to do, your plan,
Yeah.
it's not going to work the way it's going to work.
No.
The whole key is, what does nature do, for example?
Yeah.
It identifies, a plant identifies a constant, continuous micro action that's producing the entire result.
Yeah. Well, it's like the game of life, right? Have you ever seen that mathematical equation game thing, the game of life? It's
Yeah.
basically like a zero-sum game where you set the initial conditions of the game and then it can go out and create these complex systems.
Oh,
And
yes,
yeah,
I've
it's
heard of
really
it.
cool. And I actually, that's when I wrote this piece that's called Understanding the Basics of Magic. I use that as a metaphor. It's like when you understand these very key components, small actions, and you compound them over time, you can create these amazing results. But it's a matter of understanding what is these crucial key actions that we need to reinforce in our lives.
Back to consciousness,
Yeah,
brings to like knowing who you are.
yeah,
You, like we just said about Da Vinci and AI and stuff. Da Vinci knows who he is.
yeah.
You know,
He's not threatened by it.
he
It's
knows
a,
who.
well, it's like King David. Remember, like in the Bible, King David, he would be like sleep in the middle of war, right? Like there'd be like a battle raging around him, and the dude would just be like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a couple of Z's, and I'll see you in a few hours." And it was like, "Dude, you're gonna get killed." And he's like, "Nah, if I'm gonna get killed, I'm gonna get killed. It's all right. I trust in God. I trust in these elements." So I think that's sort of in the same way that we have to just sort of let go of the situation that is strangling us at this moment, and accept oblivion, like be okay with oblivion. It's not about being positive or negative, it's being okay with oblivion and understanding that even positive and negative is a dualistic expression. It's not source, it's not singularity, it's not the whole. So if there is positivity, there is negativity. And these are the polars that exist. So being okay with them all means you rise above it. And
Yeah,
then that means that you can govern it. You can utilize negative as a positive. Like you can utilize snake venom as an anti-venom.
rebellion that says, uh, "Oh man, it kind of slipped my mind," but it's like the masters. That's what it is. The masters rule what is beneath them, but serve which is above them.
Yeah, totally.
It's like I'm in the pendulum,
Yeah,
a pendulum, many other pendulums in
yeah,
existence. Right?
yeah,
So it's like, let's get from here where we're swinging like crazy
yeah.
to where we're not, you
Where we're
know?
controlling the swing.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
then above, there's some pendulum shit going on. So I got to serve that.
yeah,
Whatever cosmic forces are
yeah.
that swirling the
Like cosmically speaking, you're always somebody else's bitch. Like it's you got to understand that. There's
also like going into, like, later on we'll do this, but going into the whole concept of you are God, right?
yeah,
Like, so basically Tibetan Buddhism and all this shit, right? it ends up saying that we are either source or part of the source or an extension of the
Yeah,
source,
or a fractal of the source, or and
something like that.
but
Yeah,
ultimately source. Yeah,
yeah. So also the Kybalion says those who say that they are God in an arrogant way
yeah,
is like an earthworm saying that it's human.
yeah, exactly.
They like splices and patterns that's similar to ours
Yeah,
too, but it's not us.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Well,
So,
okay, so actually there's another thought that I have on stagnation, which is so we understand that it's not the problem itself.
we go on with that, like you know, sort of the change thing. Like I don't want to get off that. Like the
Yeah.
whole acceptance of what dude, like what how do you get to a point where you can kind of accept the uncontrollable? Like, what do? You get a faith, you get a religion, you get. How do you get to a
Well, some
point?
people do. Some people utilize religion as a means of sort of throttling the pressure of chaos, right? So it's like they sit there and they will go every Sunday or twice a week or whatever, and then they will go and do a ritual of unburdening, where they worship, where they pledge, where they
Yeah, they put
confess.
in something that makes them feel that okay, if everything goes to hell in a handbag, then I'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And then, and not even that, it's like they just submit themselves to the divine, right? So they take the self. What do you do in worship? What's the whole purpose of worship?
You recognize that you're God's servant and that
Not even so much that. It's sort of like um releasing the self from the same constraints of who you are in order to connect to the divine by saying, I submit myself to this entity, to this being, to this energy, and then not become myself. It's pretty much like ego death in a way.
well,
Like,
I think many people don't worship like that.
of course, like a lot of people ego worship, but
Well,
true worship,
no, like a trade-off.
yeah,
Trade-off, dude. I'm gonna offer my heart and soul to you.
yeah,
In exchange, bro, please get my back because this fucking universe is big.
yeah. Well, that's conditional worship then, or in that sense, yeah, it's like conditional. It's like
I've been on that shit.
of
I've
course,
done that.
I think a vast majority of religious people use that as a system of being able to barter with chaos, right? So it's
I'll do this, and then just help me out with that, man. Like,
yeah,
I promise you, I'll only jerk off twice a week.
yeah. I'll just a little bit. I'll still be kind of sinful, but not as sinful in order to. So
Grateful.
how many nuts for a car? Something like that. Um,
So what I'm saying is, like, in essence, it's what you're saying. It's like, okay, dude, whatever way you get there, you just got to realize you're not in control.
Yeah,
And
well, okay, that would be considered conditional worship. That would be then also sort of like complete empathetic worship, where you like go and you're so broken, you're so low that what you do is you break, and that's usually when people sort of like accept Christ in their life, or they convert to a new religion, or any of these things.
also to get to those points where you're just like,
Yeah,
like
and that's literally the ego's death. That's that version of the self that dies and then it assumes a new identity. That's why Christians do the whole, baptizing and bringing you up, and they have this whole ritual to induce this new identity into you. And then the whole purpose of that is like, now you're part of our community. Let's reinforce this identity, and so that we're all like, submitting ourselves to this energy, and
yeah,
that's the process. Now
yeah,
it's good. That's
great feeling.
yeah, it's good. It's fine. It's all good. And I think that it's important that people definitely learn. how to utilize methods to deal with that chaotic element of existence, right? It's like we have no way to gauge what's going on outside of what we think we know, and everything outside of what we think we know. Right now, in this current state of the world, a million things can go to the one side or another. Hitler could rise again. Mussolini could be there. We could have the Mao revolution. We could have all these things happen again.
Poles can totally shift and destroy
Yeah,
the.
exactly, exactly. So, like, what do you do with that? You can, it's the world, like the Illuminati's taken over, aliens, Elon Musk is the Antichrist, stuff like that. All of these narratives keep us locked. And so, if put that on top of all of the bullshit in your own life, and you've got yourself this like deep pressure chamber, and that's why having religion sort of gets rid of that external bubble. Um,
So any kind of tool, any kind of thing,
Meditation, yoga, whatever that you can utilize.
yeah,
Yeah,
just make it's not like a drug,
yeah,
like literally and figurative.
yeah,
Because sports becomes the replacement drug.
yeah,
Sometimes TV watching, sometimes drugs, sometimes doing hallucinogenic experiences. Like
yeah,
doing it too much. It's like, dude, yeah, now you're gonna go crazy and do it like every day,
yeah,
breakfast and everything. Like just be careful, be aware. But the first step, then, if we could conclude on the first important, probably one of the most important steps is just give up.
yeah. Exactly.
Give up.
Submit to oblivion.
It's all right, dude. Whatever the fuck. Now what?
Hmm.
Now you'd be like, okay, I'm fucking good with this shit. I'm gonna
Yeah,
start. I'm gonna knock on some doors. I'm gonna walk. And that's where like the good old OODA model decision making thing, like
yeah.
that whole matrix of decision making, where it's like observation, orientation, decision,
Decision, action.
action.
Yeah,
So just find yourself a compulsive. I mean, that's not the right word. It's not compulsive, but like a positive behavior and system and method that can help you do the thing you want to do.
that can
So
help move. Because the thing about stagnation is momentum, right? So building up momentum costs a lot of effort. When you're
yeah,
stagnant, it's that first initial push is gonna be hard. It's not easy. It's not easy to wake
no,
up and be
no, no.
depressed and say, fuck it, I gotta go do this stuff. It's not easy to go to work when you're hungry. It's not easy to go to work when you haven't slept and you have to like go talk to assholes all day. It's not easy to do that.
Relationship or whatever. It's like there and it's
Yeah,
fucked. It's not
exactly.
fun.
Yeah.
But you can't do it because there's no fucking other way. It's
Now,
like there
here's the
that
here's the other thing I was gonna say. So there's that. There's this element of like giving into the oblivion and saying it's okay, failure is fine, scorched earth. If everything goes to shit, what do I do next? Like, fine, I accept all bad shit. It might happen. If it
next step
happens, what's
are
next? Yeah. Then the second thing I think is very important, and this is something that I've done on several occasions when I've experienced stagnancy, is the agreements and commitments we make keep us locked in the reality that we're at. So if you went and said, "Hey man, I'll do this thing for you," right? Or "Hey man, I'll go and whatever agreement or commitment, I'll take you out to dinner next Tuesday." What you do there is sort of create a chain between you and the people. An attachment to the scenario makes it very stagnant. It makes it slow, encumbered moving. You can't do quick movements if you have a lot of commitments and agreements that you have in your vicinity. So one thing that I do that's like super practical is I make a list of all of the agreements and commitments that I've made in the area and that I've in my if I've said, hey, I was gonna do a design for your website and I haven't done it yet, I'll do it. I'll put it on a checklist and I'll go through all of these non-seemingly related to my actual problem um, tasks, but when I've cleared all of that, usually a solution appears. You know what I'm saying? It's really weird because it's like you don't have to necessarily attack the problem head on. You can also work on detaching yourself from the agreements that keep you in place in that time and space, you know? So it's like,
Like, it's not that it's not related. The thing is, you got to start acting and doing something different. That's what I was trying to say with the whole like emotional attachments to your situation.
yeah,
You got to create different kind of things, gain self-respect again, start trusting yourself again, start doing things because it's all about that. Like self-love is important. And
yes,
if you're putting things back and you're not complying with commitments, and if you tell people things and you don't do it, not lying, just like, dude, yeah, I'm gonna help you with this, I'm gonna do that, and then you don't do it, then your brain remembers what a piece of shit you are.
yeah,
So you got to start cleaning up everything around you and start acting action.
yeah,
So like, I mean, what I'm trying to get at in a simple way is just like, if you summarize it, it's like accept uncertainty,
yeah,
start doing something, whatever it is. Doesn't matter if it's fucking going out and running,
yeah.
or if it's doing yoga or whatever. Just do something totally different than what you do
At
every
least
day.
one action, just one single action.
And it creates a hunger
Yeah,
because we like to be busy. We like to
yeah,
do, we
yeah,
like to have activities. It's awesome for us. It's so depressing to not have anything to do,
yeah,
you know? So like we like that shit. Our body's gonna start, like our mind is gonna start wanting more,
yeah,
taste it a little bit, get out there, breathe some oxygen, do this stuff, do something different. Okay. What the fuck? Like, what's your vision? Like, if you don't have like a plan, like where you want to go, what you want to do, like some sort of concrete thing with action,
yeah,
where I heard this thing where it's like having a vision without action is just fantasy. It's a
yeah,
dream.
totally. It's
But
daydreaming, it's wishful thinking.
with an actual action plan where you're gonna do shit and comply with things and blah blah blah, that's a dream.
One recommended thing I could book for anybody that listens that would like to like really get a method to be able to do that is called The One Thing. I think it's called Gary Keller is the author. I'm not sure. Let me see. But The One Thing, and it talks about the domino effect on how like how many dominoes it would take to knock over the moon.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, and it's pretty cool. It's not a lot. It's like I think it's like 14 or 13 dominoes if
yeah,
you were to double them in size.
yeah,
And so it's like by aligning simple actions towards a larger goal, you'll create momentum. You'll create motion. And that's really what you want to do. If you're stagnant, you want to fucking create movement. You want to not be stagnant.
yeah.
So how do you create that? Well,
Movement doesn't seem to be. Yeah, I'm building my vision. I don't even know
no.
what the. Some people don't know what their vision is. Like
Yeah.
I
And
think that sounds like my wife comes to mind. She's like, I want to do something, but I don't know what I want to do. You
yeah.
know, and now like, but she started doing some actions that's completely changed her day-to-day activities,
Yeah.
right? More than a year now. And suddenly things are coming up at her where she can make some money, you
Yeah.
know, because she wanted to do something, but she had no idea what she wants to do. And she's always been like that. She says, man, I've never really known, like, I never felt drawn to like a purpose,
Yeah.
like life's not set up like that. I don't think like that. I just want to work, do my shit, be happy, hang with my friends, whatever. But not like, yeah, I want to build this business because my passion and whatever,
Yeah.
like
But
it's
I
good.
think also that's a very important thing. Purpose is not some divine thing. Purpose is something we create, right? We assign purpose to our actions,
Yeah.
not the other way around. It's not that our actions are assigned to us due to some purpose. So, and I think that's a big trap that a lot of people. It's like, well, I don't know what's my calling at life. It's like,
Mm.
fuck you, dude. What do you like to do? Your calling at life is to do what you would like to do.
Yeah,
What would you like to do? Oh, I
exactly.
just want to sit by a pool all day. Okay, cool. Is that truly what you want to do? And then you have to grill it because I think, is the issue. People don't um, go deep enough into what they truly want to do. Like typically what you say is the thing you really want to do. Like, I want to travel. I really want to travel the world. Is that what you want to do? Are you really want to travel the world? Why? Because it
Yeah.
feels, you say, well, because it feels like X, Y, or Z. And
You-
a good exercise for that as well is called the seven whys.
Yeah.
So whatever is your desire, ask why. And
Yeah.
that answer, ask why again. And
Yeah.
then,
It's wise, bro. Can you
yeah,
hear me?
yeah, I can hear you. But sometimes when I talk, this sound gets weird.
Because you just keep on talking sometimes.
Yeah, sorry.
Anyways, it's the five whys, dude.
Five
It's a
whys.
they do in quality control to detect problems,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
They use it in industry and even in psychology and stuff. But yeah, it's getting to the root cause,
yeah.
you know.
And when you
But
understand that why, then you say, okay, that's what I really want.
and as you say, man, it's like if you if you get like your purpose, I like that what you said. Your purpose is what you really like to do.
Yeah,
How do you get to that point? Ask the five whys.
yeah. That's the five whys. Get to that point, say, this is my core thing, and then figure out an action plan to get that. What's the first thing that you need to do to make that thing happen?
So going back to stagnation, I need to have an operating philosophy.
Yeah.
Spiritually, existentially, I need to have an operational like philosophy, core
Hmm.
belief that's
Yeah.
positive, that frees me from fear and a
Yeah.
trap. Then I need to decide to move. Why the OODA model works? It's like observation, what's going on, orientation, what what should I do, and who do I need to help me right now
Yeah.
to advance? Decision, make a decision, man,
Yeah.
and don't
This
just make
action or that action. I can either do this or that, that. Okay.
forks in the road.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna take one, you know, and then act. That's the take one,
Yeah.
like I'm gonna take a step. If you don't fucking act, then you're not gonna change the variables around you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna change circumstance or situation or scenario, you
Yeah.
know. So like the only way to get out of it really is pushing or finding a way to act, you
Yeah.
know. After you act, then whatever you want to fucking do, you're gonna be learning shit. Just
Yeah.
keep on, like keep on acting. Never fall in the trap of being stagnated because it's hard to get out, dude. Has there ever been like a hard time for you, like in your life where it's like, dude, I fucking can't act, man. I don't know.
Yeah,
Just
I've been like a while back, I was like deeply depressed. I was just in this like sort of
happen.
dark cave, doing little, not doing much, just gaming excessively and not working on any real projects or anything, just making money to survive and to live. Um, but that eventually, like, I started doing stuff. Like, I started doing little projects here, little projects there, things that I thought that I wanted to do. And it didn't work out, but that's okay. Like,
Is
I
this
got to
before or after your kids?
before
Like
my kids. Now, since my kids, there's no time to be stagnant. It's just
what I
move,
wanted to do.
move. Yeah. No, prior, this was me when I was in like my darkest times in like Mexico City, and I was just alone for a long, long time. And it's like that solitude really compounded over time. And then my behavior started becoming very mechanical. And once again, like automation kicked in. And I lost maybe like a year, 2 years of my life just like
Fucking around.
in this, yeah, fucking literally fucking around, not achieving anything. And it's sort of like when you get into sort of this addictive compulsive behaviors where you get this fake satisfaction for a short period of time. You know, a lot of people have the issues with no fap and they feel this guilt and stuff like that. I don't necessarily feel that guilt when I succumb to my desires, but when I would game excessively, I had that. So like it's not exclusive to one domain of compulsive behavior. Every human being has their own unique, special little demon that will hijack their system, give them this fake sense of accomplishment, and then immediately take that away, and then have this bitterness in your mouth. And then that bitterness affects the heart. The heart then is bitter and it doesn't vibe higher. And then you're stuck into this loop. And it's until, like, in those moments, pray. In those moments, pray that God or the universe sends you something else. Now, obviously, don't wait. You have to go out and do it. And if you're aware that you're in this situation now, well, you can't just pray anymore. Now you have the answers to how to get out. But if you're unaware of it, if you're unconscious about that situation, then praying to a God and stuff is the best action you can do, because it's like, go take a mushroom and experience and break yourself out of that. You have to completely shatter that.
So
Um,
there could be some sort of spiritual act,
yes,
you know, let's say doing some weird ritual, whatever. Praying is a
yes.
ritual, right?
Praying as a ritual, go read some cards, dude. Like, do something to get
Yeah.
outside of your head and sort of be objective about this stuff. And then with that segues immediately into accepting oblivion. Like, first go, oh God, I am nothing.
Mm.
Let's go from here. And
Yeah.
then that's where that'll
Like,
go.
yeah, man, because like stagnation, I think happens to everybody.
Yeah.
But if you look at the antidotes of it, it's like just be busy, dude. Just try to do stuff. Even if it's like, dude, I'm gonna read 20 minutes. 20
Yeah.
minutes read.
Something outside of your
That's
typical
just
things.
doing some sit-ups and shit. Like
Yeah.
what, or like doing some yoga, or who knows, right?
Yeah.
Or
Dude, 50 push-ups in a day throughout the day. You can do that. It's not a
then then you translate that to some activity that's probably more valuable for your current situation. Because then maybe it's like, dude, I'm gonna start like going through like the client list. I'm gonna start like checking some prospects. I'm gonna start like working on this project,
yeah.
like I'm gonna actually do activities that moves the bar,
Hmm.
like I'll be moving the bar. I'll be clicking off boxes. So making a checklist and doing this shit like and just having it there,
Can't
like
remember who said it. Can't remember who said it, but they said success is simply having a goal and having measurable
simple.
having measurable attainable goals and moving forward. Like, that is success in a nutshell. It's like, I have this goal and I can measure how I'm moving forward. I'm no longer where I was yesterday. That's all you need, really. And honestly, that's all you need. You don't need more than that. You need to say, hey, I would really like to do X or Y. That's what I really want to do. And you go through the 5 whys and you reach that core of why, what's the core motivation. And then you say, okay, that's what I want to do. Now, what's my plan? And then as you move along that plan, you'll start feeling more successful because you'll start seeing the progress that you're making from where you were. And now you're no longer stagnant, because I think that's another thing, an illusion of stagnancy, because everything is moving, even if you feel stagnant. It doesn't mean necessarily that you are stagnant. You'll be like, well, I'm not doing shit with my life and I'm not going nowhere. Yeah, but the whole world is moving around you. People die, dude. People, like, businesses go out of business. These things happen whether you're moving or not. So stagnancy is an illusion. You are moving. You're just moving you're not perceiving the movement within your own bubble. And so, like, you got to break out. You got to have a direction.
It's important because it breaks you out.
Yeah.
See it from a different dimension.
Yeah.
Like that's all we need to do. We need to look at it from a different dimension.
Yeah.
But also, it's like I think every human being eventually will stop being like give yourself the opportunity to stop being like stagnant. Like it's like none of us would stop breathing on purpose. You know, or none of us would stop eating. And if there's nothing that gives you food, then you're going to be either dying or go out and find food. Like I think there's a point that everybody potentially can get to where it's like, okay, dude, I'm not going to sit here and do this anymore.
Yeah.
Allow this to continue. And it's like, you got to take responsibility. Nobody else can do that for you. You got to do it. And that's the main thing, just getting to a point
Yeah.
where it's,
And I think that is one of the most core philosophies that any person that's in self-discovery or personal development needs to take to heart is that nobody's coming to save you.
no,
Nobody. It's all on you.
it's you, dude. Like, there's moments like in these months after the fire and everything where people said, dude, amazing, like blessings here and there. I mean, this house is a blessing. The table, I'm sitting on a dining room table that's beautiful, you know, that's given to me to replace the old one that was burnt.
Yeah.
So, and it's nice. It's got a great feeling and everything,
Yeah.
great energy around. And what I'm saying is like, man, it's fucking hard to get to that point where it's
Yeah,
where
but like if you would have just sat there in the ash, right, and not moving and not putting up things and not making the story known and not doing these things, then none of that would have happened.
yeah, you're right. You're right about it. But what I'm saying is, nonetheless, those people have no obligation to help you
No,
out.
exactly. No, obviously, but the point here is that you are the person that have to save yourself. They
Yeah,
didn't save you. That table doesn't save you.
right.
That table is a nice blessing.
The
It's
photo, the message, all that stuff
yeah.
help. You
Yeah,
know,
but also it's like that table is a nice help, but it doesn't save you. The person's intention was to help you out, but not to save you.
no,
They were like, "Hey, I've got this thing to give to you, so go for it. This will make your life easier." So you're going to get assistance from other people, but nobody's going to save you from your life. You have to take the reins. That's the only lesson. The thing is, we came into this life alone, and we're going
yeah,
to go out of it alone.
yeah,
This is the truth. And so the moment that you think somebody else is going to come and bail you out is the moment that you become a victim of the world. Because now you're hoping for that rich uncle to die. Now you're hoping for this.
government to change its rules for
Yeah, yeah,
a full socialized income
yeah,
stuff like that. It's like,
exactly. And it's,
uh,
yeah, but now you have no more power. You've given it all away.
always exchange freedom for power over you,
Yeah,
like your own freedom to be fucked.
yeah,
We're exchanging it for, yeah, I'll give me some money and I'll give you some control over my
yeah,
life and over,
exactly, exactly.
like, then crazy shit starts happening where, yeah, I don't even want to talk about
Power dynamics and all these things. We can talk about that at some other point. But what I'm coming at is that it's like don't wait for other people. Don't put your faith in these other things that's going to come and get you. I believe in God. I believe in the divine. I believe that God is both completely abstract and completely invested in my life. I think God gives zero shits and 100% shits about who I am and what I'm doing. And so what I do is I connect to the divine. And I don't know what that looks like. I don't understand that. And it's hard sometimes because I don't have a vehicle to easily just dive into it. I can't say 15 rosemaries and fucking
yeah. The thing is, just so like, we have a history, bro. I mean, we were highly devout Christians, and that was our method of doing the religious thing,
yeah,
you know, of connecting to God. But then when we kind of explored more, understood more, and stepped out of that paradigm and out of that box of
yeah,
thinking, then there was a time in my life personally where it's like, dude, okay, should I feel ridiculous
yeah,
asking God something because I'm in this process of like thinking that it's stupid to do it. Not that I didn't believe it existed. It's just like, oh man,
yeah,
what the
yeah.
right?
This
you
is
know,
the,
like,
this
and
is
I
not
also
yeah.
divorcing myself from a belief system that I feel did a lot of good, but then actually harmed me more than
Yeah, well, you grew to the edge of the pot, right? You had to be transplanted into a bigger uh into the forest.
having a practice, as you say, is very hard. But that's why you got to find it.
Yeah.
It's
Well, you got to make it. I think what I came to eventually, my main modality right now to connect to the divine is through the breath.
Naked is a better word.
Yeah. Like, and I think that's where we're entering into an age where people will create their own systems based on what they know. Maybe it's like a baseline Muslim thing with like parts paganism and boom, 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 and they're gonna.
Everybody has their own religion, even in
Mhm.
church. You know,
Yeah,
like they're like they say, yeah, they understand you, but you know, the world's subjective.
yeah,
And even in their religion, you know, they're all believing a version of that.
yeah,
You
totally. If you say
know,
imagine God, and everybody will like, and they had an ability to put it onto an image,
yeah.
everybody's vision of God would be completely different.
I would do a mathematical equation. Another guy
Yeah.
will do the Fibonacci sequence.
Yeah,
Another,
well, even in the same church, you take 10 of the same people that believe the same thing, and you say, imagine Jesus. And some of them will imagine him on the cross, other will imagine him in a cave, other will imagine him like feeding fish, all of these different versions. So, yeah, with ducks, just chilling there, smoking a roach.
right that he's feeding the fish.
But
Oh, imagine that.
yeah. So, but what the point is, none of them are seeing the same Jesus. None of
Yeah,
them are seeing the same God. They're all worshiping whatever they're projecting.
liberating. It's like, okay, dude, stop fucking thinking that whatever the preacher, the pastor, the priest, the imam is telling you is like the truth,
Yeah,
and that it's all shadows of truth.
yeah, totally.
It's talking about something that we know we can never understand, but there are very good things in there that help you live life.
Well, the
You know,
principles are there, and I think that they're all modes of operations in reality. Like it's a technology, it's like a software, it's Apple and Mac. That's what religion is. It's nothing more than Apple and Mac. And
connect to the World Wide Web. You know,
exactly. And so exactly. And the World Wide Web is more like the singularity that we're all connected to, and then it gets projected in these different forms that we can interact with. But it's the same fucking thing
it
at the
is,
end
man.
of the day.
At the end of it,
Yeah.
so it's super important to have a belief system.
Yeah.
And,
For me, and what
I was going to mention something. I was going to say that I kind of like atheist. I'm also not an atheist. I really do believe there is a source, and it's just that's my route, you know.
Mhm.
But an atheist doesn't believe. So
Yeah.
what does a functional atheist do?
Yeah. Well, continue.
Actions, a
Yeah.
plan,
Yeah.
works, control, like whatever you can control, they control.
Yeah.
So they try to
Well,
work at
atheists also have a religion. They just don't call it religion, but it's essentially it's scientism, is what an atheist believes.
belief, right? But what I'm saying is, if you don't believe that like God's in control of everything, then what should you believe? Well,
Well, you believe,
mechanisms, systems, right? So
yeah,
systems, mechanisms. That's what's in control.
yeah. Well, if you're an atheist, you believe that the universe spawned out of nothing,
Yeah.
and it's just as fucking wild. It's like it's not. Oh yeah, well I've got all of these guys in white coats and texts that I can read and the evidences, and we can weigh it out. It's like yeah, the religious scholars have the exact same things. And
Right.
that's fantasies and it's not provable. I was like, yeah, dude, the origin of the universe, all of these things are all theoretical. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack. People's going to tell me a lot of shit about, like, oh, well, you've got all of these things. But at the end of the day, nobody has an idea about the origin of the universe. Nobody has a true understanding of what that even is. Nobody has a true understanding of how all of these things arranged itself in this completely unique and crazy thing. Now, in the game of life, we know that very small maneuvers can evolve into these complex systems, but we have no understanding. There's so much of this world, and anybody who's
But we don't know everything.
yeah, but so an atheist relies on this scientific theory of the universe as their comforting factor, and
Mhm.
they've just accepted that there's just this one go. That's all
Yeah.
we have. That's their truth. There's like after this oblivion is the eternal slumber.
wrong with that way of thinking.
There's nothing
Like,
wrong with it.
you know, that's what I'm
The
saying.
I think
Atheist,
that the,
but it helps him constructively to act because sometimes believing that the cosmic force, going back to your point, no one's going to save you. Sometimes believing that it's the cosmic force responsibility to bless you because the conditional relationship.
yeah,
Sometimes doing that is actually very destructive,
yes,
and
100%.
like you know like daddy and childlike behavior where it's daddy's job to save you,
Yeah.
not your job. You know,
Yeah, and it is daddy's job in a
atheists
while.
like that because they don't have the daddy concept.
Yeah, because they're basically orphaned in the sense of like
Nothing's in control.
yeah,
It's life. It's just a biological thing. We're gonna die. We're not gonna know we're dead.
it's a process. Yeah.
That gives you peace. Why?
So
Why
be it.
use it? Right.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is sometimes it helps. It's like I remember when Dad was kind of like atheistic.
Yeah.
He would always be like, "Dude, God gave me all the tools I need to do." Like he wasn't atheistic, but he was like not, nah, whatever.
Yeah.
Religion. God gave me everything in me to do what I need to do.
Yeah.
I don't need to ask God for help.
Yeah.
Because mom would always say, "Hey, just let's pray. Let's ask God." And the dad would be like, "Dude, why?
Yeah.
Why should we do that if God already put everything? He made me, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got everything inside of me to do what I need to do. I don't need to be praying and asking God. He already gave me what I need.
Yeah.
It's his thought, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
and it helped him do great things.
Yeah. Totally.
That's what I'm saying. Like atheists kind of live like that.
Well,
They're like,
that's the key of the chaos magician is to understand that all modes have their benefits. It's like it's you're playing an RPG and you've got different characters with different character strengths. So sometimes the barbarian's the perfect thing to use in this situation, but sometimes you got to be a healer or you got to be a mage and you got to change your game style to be able to fit to the situation. Like chaos magic in a way is situational leadership, but within mentalities. Like it's the same thing. It's like, oh, currently this will work better. It'll be better for me to be acting more like a devout Christian in this period of my life, and it'll be better for me to act like a fucking wild pagan in this period of my life because my results are going to be more quickly manifesting if I do it in these formats. And so that's really what it's about. But anyway, I think we've digressed a lot from stagnation.
I was going to tell you that.
I think
Okay. That maybe you should go through this and like some of these things that we're saying, use just like as a little short clip because there's like concepts that we've spoken about.
yeah, yeah, totally. I would do it. I'd let the AI run and get clips out and see what it was we can good.
Encapsulated, but like segments that we're talking about, like this part, we could cut it out and just call it something else, dude. It doesn't need to be part of the thing that, like, what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, but this is the whole conversation. Like, there will be smaller segments of the conversation that people can listen to. But if somebody wants to sit down and just, smoke a joint or drink a coffee and listen to two dudes babble on, then let's
Yeah,
fucking let's do it. So, but anyway, yeah. So, point is, in terms of stagnation, I think really we get to the crux of the situation, which is like accept oblivion and understand that if shit is stagnated, then something's obviously wrong in your life, and you need to start looking at that. And then two, have some system to be able to mitigate the effects of chaos around your life and to sort of bring some stability in the heart so that you can enact movement towards something that you truly desire and just work towards that and focus on that and move. Don't sit still. Sitting still is achieving nothing.
exactly.
Yeah. So I think that any other final words you think you'd like to spitball?
No, man, like, dude, like, have you seen the forest fires and shit in
That's
California?
pretty crazy. Yeah.
Rough, man. I hope all those people well, dude. It's fucked up.
There's that, and there's all the conspiracies floating around it, and there's
But I've seen some shit, and I'm like, okay, that's not gonna do anything for my life. Like I used to go down rabbit holes like crazy, and it's like I see some shit, possibly. Can I do anything about it? No, I can't. I need to fix my own fucking life right now. I need to focus on my shit, you know.
Yeah, well,
So
the thing is, you should always, because there's so much noise outside of you.
much, dude. And
Like,
then me and my chick saw this movie called The fucking Substance. The Substance. Have you
uh-huh.
seen
No,
it?
but I know about it.
Dude, it's a very good social criticism of like fucking, you know,
You guys should watch Unfrosted.
well, let me just tell you, like, it's fucking awesome because it's like social criticism of like, you know, the whole Botox forever beautiful, young, superficial life.
Yeah.
And it gets nuts, dude. It's like, ugh, this that's like gross. It's there's some gross parts, but it's kind of like symbolic in a sense where like it's gross and people's like, you're so beautiful. We love you so much. Blah blah blah. And it's
Uh-huh.
like, because she's generating tons of cash for them. It's like
Yeah.
this sick society of nutsness. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Excessive beauty.
What's Frozen about, bro?
What? Unfrosted. Unfrosted is a Netflix thing about Kellogg's versus Post, the and the cereal, and then the invention of the Pop Tart. But it's written by Jerry Seinfeld, so it's fucking hilarious.
Oh,
It's
awesome.
it's funny. There's nothing dirty about it because it's Jerry Seinfeld, so there's no R rating. It's totally like PG. And it's funny. It's like there's also deep social criticism of that. Like they're literally feeding people garbage, and the cast of that movie is insane. Like it's an insane giant cast of A-listers that goes through that hour and a half movie. It's definitely something. If you want to feel good and just hang out, um, yeah, that movie I can't recommend it enough. It's very good.
Awesome, my brother.
Anyway,
Well,
bro,
I will I'll talk to you soon. I was a bit distracted today because I got a lot of shit going on.
same here. There's a lot of stuff, and I'm in between shifts of things, but we'll pick it up. This is like I said, this is just a convo, dude. Like once a week, let's get an hour and then just talk, and then
Right on, my brother.
if anybody listening here wants to suggest some topics, we'll get into that. Just write it down, and when we get to it, we'll get to it. So that's us for right now. Talk to you guys later. Peace out.
He's out.